Greetings, everyone. I want to talk today about the upcoming new moon on August 16th. As I talk about this new moon, it's very important to hold it in the context of the information about where we are in the Venus cycle that I talked about in my previous video. So I encourage you to watch that if you have not seen that already. And that video is discussing how the Venus cycle is described in the ancient Sumerian myth of Inanna coming from 2000 BCE. What's interesting about that myth is not only is it describing exquisitely the journey of Venus in the sky. The story is really charting Venus's cycle from an evening star into the underworld to her emergence as a morning star. And it's describing Inanna's journey of hearing the call of the great below to reclaim lost parts of herself that are buried in the underworld, but also her intense encounter with Ereshkigal, her sister, who's the queen of the underworld, who's been, it's about a ruptured relationship that Inanna is also trying to heal. Not only is it an exquisite story describing the movement of Venus in the sky, but it's also a profound story about the time of change culturally that was happening in Mesopotamia at that time. Remember that ancient cultures were much more tuned in to the precessional cycle and the larger cycle of change that we've been in as humanity on this earth plane. And part of my work is helping us to remember that so that we have that larger context of understanding this profound transformation that we're in as we're moving into the age of Aquarius, and as we're at the end of one precessional cycle and the beginning of a new one. But the ancient Sumerians in this story of Inanna were describing the shift, the ending of the age of Taurus and the beginning movement into the age of Aries. And if I had more time, I'd take you in depth through how the story talks about the uprooting of old paradigms and movement into new cultural ways of being that are encoded in the story. But this story is profound, not only in guiding us in understanding this new moon, this new lunar cycle that's so interwoven with the Venus cycle, but it's also giving us wisdom and guidance about how we can understand this time of the larger shift that we're in as humanity, as we're moving from the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius, and as we're at that profound time in the precessional cycle when we go through a radical change in consciousness. We go through radical earth changes, a kind of death, rebirth in our sense of identity and our experience as humanity on the planet. This new moon is encoding a lot of information, guidance, and support for us in that process. And let me show you the chart. You can see at the time of this new moon that the sun and moon will be at 23 degrees of Leo. And if you watched my previous video, you'll know that Venus during this time of the new moon is in the underworld. She's been retrograde, and as of about August 6th, she disappeared from view in the western sky as an evening star. She was exactly conjunct the sun at 20 degrees of Leo on August 13th, and she will reappear in the eastern sky as a morning star around August 21st. Remember, you can tell when a planet is under the beams of the sun, is invisible in the sky, if it's within 13 degrees of the sun. So it will be about August 21st when she will be 13 degrees from the sun and just beginning to rise on the eastern horizon before the time of sunrise. But as of the time of this new moon, she is still in that part of her journey that is her underworld experience. As I talked about in that earlier video, she spends about 9 months as an evening star, then disappears from view in her inferior conjunction between the Earth and the Sun. This is her time of transformation, of death, rebirth, and then she emerges in the eastern sky as a morning star, very bright before the sun rises. So we're now in the process where Venus has been 3 days in the underworld, 3 days after that exact conjunction with the sun, which you might think of as that moment where Inanna, in her journey, and is in the underworld in search of the lost aspects of herself, in search of trying to understand and repair issues in relationship, particularly with her sister who she's been separated from. But as you recall, she goes through this experience of being struck dead by her sister and being in the underworld to be revived by the earth creatures sent by Enki, the god of wisdom. I won't go through the story in depth again. Please watch that earlier video if you want to understand more of the context for how that comes into play at the time of this new moon. But just to add to what I described in that story, Venus is Inanna, journeying to the underworld. Her friend, who watches out for her and gets help when she doesn't return from the underworld, Ninshabar, is Mercury in the sky. Dumuzi, Inanna's husband or consort, who enjoys taking over her throne when she has gone on her underworld journey and ends up having to do his own journey of healing and transformation in the underworld. Dumuzi is Mars. Enki, the god of wisdom who sends the earth creatures to rescue, restore, revive Inanna, is Saturn. So as you tune into the energies of this new moon, think about these characters and what is at work as we're experiencing this new moon, which is the time where the moon is conjunct the sun and has disappeared from view. So we're in this time of darkness. We're in this time of being in the liminal time between the ending of a lunar cycle and the beginning of a new one. And it won't be until the 17th or possibly the 18th that that new crescent moon will be visible as the moon emerges from her time in the underworld into being a new moon, beginning a new lunar cycle. So at this time that the moon is in the underworld, Venus is also in the underworld. And this is the 3rd day following her conjunction with the sun, following that time of death, of being struck dead in her underworld experience. And Ninshabar has sought out help, has gone to Enki, the god of wisdom, who sends the earth creatures, bringing the living waters and bread of life to come to revive and resurrect and rescue Inanna. Remember that these earth creatures are also healing Ereshkigal, who's both mourning the loss of her husband who has died and also is in the throes of birth pains. So Ereshkigal's in her own experience of dealing with grief and death, but also new birth, new life. Inanna is struck dead, but then revived, resurrected, brought back to life. So remember, it is in these times in the underworld that we each go through this portal of death, rebirth, this time of alchemy, of transformation. And this new moon is reverberating with these energies of death, rebirth. At the time of this new moon, I encourage you to really allow it to be an introspective time. This is not a time to be taking action, to be trying to manifest something. This is a time to actually go within and attune to what within you is needing to die in order to give birth to new ways of being. And as you're in this time where Venus is awaiting to be revived, it's important to know that this is the time where, when we're in those deep underworld experiences, we need those friends that we can turn to who will get help for us. But also, it's such a reminder that these planetary energies are also there for us. We are not alone. We are supported. And at the time of this new moon, the Sun, Moon, Venus are all squaring Uranus and Jupiter, trining Chiron. Venus is opposite Hygeia and is in a wide opposition with Chariklo, which is now at 10 degrees of Aquarius. When Enki, the god of wisdom, sends the earth creatures to the underworld to rescue Inanna, they first come to Ereshkigal. And as I described in that earlier video, they mirror back to her her pain. They're empathic, they're caring, they're present. And then they turn and revive Inanna, Venus. When we're in these underworld experiences, we need to feel held and supported, seen and heard, to know that we're not alone. As you're in this time of the new moon, allow yourself to feel those issues that you're dealing with in your own life, and feel the energy of Hygeia beaming healing energy to you. Hygeia, goddess of health and healing, who helps us heal at the emotional and physical levels, and Chariklo, who's holding space, who's mirroring back what we're experiencing, who's holding that empathic presence for us. Chiron is also at work, bringing healing energy. And Uranus and Jupiter are supporting us in remembering our connection with nature, remembering our connection with natural law, Uranus, having faith in these times of darkness that we are being supported, we are being revived, we are being rebirthed. So this new moon is profoundly holding that energy of honoring what we're needing to release, what we're needing to allow to die, looking at what aspects of ourselves we're needing to reclaim, what issues we're needing to heal in relationship, in order to be preparing to emerge with Venus around August 21st in a new way, in a new form, in new ways of being. So I really encourage you, at the time of this new moon until August 21st, honor your inner journey. Honor this as a time of reflection, of meditation, of tuning in, of honoring being in this liminal time, of honoring the ways in which, as we're collectively in this time of transition and transformation, we won't get to the age of Aquarius by being on a linear path of thinking we can just keep moving forward and it will all unfold. We have to honor the paradigms that we're releasing as Pluto is guiding us in the final degrees of Capricorn to say, let it go. Let these old beliefs, systems, paradigms die in order to move into new ways of being. And it's interesting that Sabian symbol for the degree of this new moon is about keep your focus on what's important, on what really matters. As we're in this time of transition, it's important to let go of what no longer serves you and keep a focus on what's important. And with all this Leo energy, come back to your heart. Be living from your heart. Let me show you where this is in the sky. At the time of this new moon, the sun and moon and Venus are all close to the royal star Regulus, but particularly the new moon and sun are just above Regulus, the heart of Leo the lion. This is a time to come back to our hearts, to hold this time of transition, of being in this liminal space with courage, to know that we are being supported and held by these energies of the earth and sky. And that as we trust and know that we are being supported, we are being guided in this transition and time of rebirth, then we can come from a place of courage and trust and faith. And as I talked about in my earlier video, Venus, as she's moving towards rising as a morning star, is right by Hydra, the serpent, signaling the rise of the sacred feminine that's been in the underworld, that's been repressed and diminished, is rising up to support us in this rebirth, to support us in coming into these new paradigms that are about balance, harmony, right relationship. I think it's very significant that at the time of this new moon, Saturn, which is Enki, the god of wisdom, sending the healing energies to support Inanna, Venus, in emerging in her new way, new identity from the underworld on August 21st, is in the stars of Aquarius, the water bearer, pouring the living waters, the living energies of life and wisdom to the earth. So Saturn in the sky right now is guiding us to remember we are energy beings. We are beings of light. We are being guided to move into these Aquarian paradigms that are about a higher consciousness and a way in which we can co-create a new world together and live more in collaboration and connection with each other and with all of the life around us. Uranus and Jupiter, who are squaring the new moon and Venus at the time of this new moon on August 16th, are in the sky close to the head of Cetus, the whale, reminding us of the wisdom of the deep, the wisdom of the waters, the sacred waters that are guiding us, healing us, supporting us, helping us. If you haven't seen the work of Veda Austin on water as carrying living consciousness, that we are all beings, not only of light, but of water, and everything living is made up of water. And Cetus is the wisdom of the deep, the wisdom of the deep waters, the wisdom of the sacred feminine that is held in the waters in our bodies and in the water in all of the life around us. I really encourage you to check out her work, and I've included a link to her website below. But I also encourage you to listen to the recent interview that Pam Gregory did with Veda Austin. It's a brilliant conversation and will give you a deep sense of the amazing pioneering cutting edge work that Veda is doing around the consciousness of water, how we can be in interaction, in relationship with water in a way that's supporting us in our increasing our consciousness, in our healing, in our coming back into connection with the consciousness of the natural world and of the waters, the sacred waters in particular. So Uranus and Jupiter are giving us clarity about how we can open up to the wisdom of nature, the wisdom of water. And Jupiter, have faith that we are being supported, we are being guided, we are being assisted. And I think it's also significant that Uranus and Jupiter that are helping us form new beliefs, let go of old forms of thought or beliefs that no longer serve us, but Uranus to have clarity about What matters? What, Jupiter, what are the new forms that are emerging? Uranus and Jupiter in the sign of Taurus. They're also opposite Perseus, the warrior. Remember, this is the part of the sky that is holding that tension in the patriarchal period of the energy of the masculine and the deep feminine. It's this time of polarization, of conflict. Remember that the theme of the story of Perseus, the warrior, the hero in Greek mythology, that story dates back to about 800 BCE and is about this emerging patriarchal paradigm of the male warrior hero, conqueror, who rises to each challenge that faces him and masters it, and is the one who goes and slays Medusa, who was a very ancient symbol and image of the sacred feminine. And Perseus slays Medusa and is returning when he sees Andromeda chained to the rocks, and he slays Cetus the whale, rescues Andromeda, and is showing this paradigm that we move into in the patriarchal period of the hero, the male conqueror who slays the energies of the sacred feminine, conquers nature in order to be the victor, to be in control, to have mastery over the world around him. This is the paradigm that, as we're moving into the age of Aquarius, that we need to release. We need to release, each of us. This isn't an issue of male versus female. We each have that energy of the masculine and feminine within us. We are needing within ourselves, no matter what our gender, to step out of that polarization and that inner conflict and outer conflict that has led to our division from each other, and the dynamics of our idealizing this sense of the separate self, the hero who masters the world around them and is able to be in control and is able to compete and win and conquer and have mastery and succeed. And that is the paradigm in our business world. That is the paradigm in our political world. That is the paradigm in the conflict between nations, in the conflict in our relationships. This is the paradigm of separation, of polarization that we need to let die. As we're in this underworld time, Venus and the new moon, we're being guided to let go of the old beliefs. Uranus and Jupiter squaring Venus and the new moon. We're being guided to let go of these old beliefs that are leading us into that polarization and sense of separation and division. We are being transformed in the underworld to emerge in a new way and to remember the ancient wisdom of right relationship. What does that mean? Right relationship. Right relationship is the energy of rebalancing the sacred masculine and the sacred feminine. Right relationship is the remembrance that we are a part of the oneness of all that is, that we are not separate. This isn't about how do I win? How do I have mastery? How do I conquer? How do I get what I need? This is about how do we collaborate? How do we cooperate? How do we remember that wisdom of the natural world, that we thrive when we come into our interdependence and our interconnectedness? When we honor our diversity and the multiplicity of who we are in our unity, then we thrive. So being in right relationship is about coming back into balance, coming back into harmony, coming into connection, and that remembrance of our interdependence with each other. And it's also the remembrance that the sacred masculine and the sacred feminine are not at war with each other. They're not at odds with each other. They are two facets of who we each are and who we need to be. When we reclaim their integration, their wholeness, their being in right relationship, it is about our being in deep connection with the earth, the sacred feminine, deep connection with our bodies, deep connection with our relationship with ourselves, our understanding of sacred relationship and being a part of the oneness of all that is. And then we can express that energy of the sacred masculine in our capacity to honor our individual self-expression, our gifts, the way in which we are each a fractal of cosmic consciousness and can express that uniqueness to be of service to the whole. Then we're in balance and in harmony. Then we're bringing that energy into the world and emanating that to everyone around us. I truly believe as we move into the age of Aquarius and move into the higher consciousness of the fifth dimension, the energy of the fifth dimension is about love and harmony. It is about balance and being in right relationship. And to get there, we have to let go of the paradigms of the past that no longer serve us and keep us separate and keep us constrained and keep us in this false belief that we are in a hierarchical dynamic and someone will win and someone will lose, and it's all about competition and it's not about collaboration. We have to let go of that false belief, allow ourselves to be in this liminal period of being in the underworld, to die to those old forms of identity and those old ways of being in relationship with each other on the planet, and those old ways of being in relationship with the natural world. We need to let that die, be in this liminal time. It is in the liminal time, it is in the underworld that we are able to heal, transform, and then emerge in a new way, be rebirthed, reborn, resurrected in a new sense of identity and new patterns and new beliefs and new ways of being. That's what this new moon is carrying. Honor being in the underworld, honor the times of darkness, honor the not knowing how you're going to emerge in a new way. But know that you're being supported, you're being guided, you're being held in that time of incubation and supported in being in that alchemical process to burn away what no longer serves you, what you need to let go of. To be supported by the earth creatures, the living waters and food of Mother Earth, the living energies coming to us from the sky, from the cosmos, from the sun and the galactic center. Those energies are beaming to us, are transforming our consciousness, are transforming our DNA, are guiding us in becoming beings of energy, of light, of love. If we allow ourselves to be in this journey of the descent into the darkness to return in a new way. And as we move into the Aquarian age, and we are co-creating a new world together, it is about how we're co-creating that new world together. Part of moving into the Aquarian age is not how do I create my own reality? It's about how do we create a new reality? How do we remember that we're in relationship with each other? We're in relationship with all of the life around us. We're in relationship with all the energies of the cosmos. We are being called to remember our oneness, our interconnectedness. Remember that my sense of the meaning of the age of Aquarius is the sovereignty of the self in the sanctity of community and in unity with cosmic consciousness. As we remember our interconnectedness with each other, as we come back into harmony and love coming from the heart, to be back in right relationship with each other, and in that remembrance that we're a part of the oneness of cosmic consciousness, then the sovereignty of the self that we emanate is coming from that right relationship, that oneness, that sense of interconnectedness, so that our uniqueness is a manifestation of our gifts that are our expression of cosmic consciousness that come forward in service to co-creating together this new world. Right relationship is the theme of this new moon, of this time in the Venus cycle, where Venus is reclaiming the lost parts of herself, reintegrating right relationship to emerge in a new way, guiding us to remember who we truly are, to remember what it means to be in right relationship, so that we can emerge with her, with the new crescent moon and with Venus emerging as a morning star, to be bringing that wisdom, that energy of transformation in the underworld out with us. Then we emanate that out, and that energy coming from the heart, Leo, coming from that connection with Regulus, the heart of the lion, is giving us the courage to act from love, to live from the heart, to follow our path of destiny, which is to move into these new forms, and to be remembering our capacity to come back into connection with all of life and co-create a new world that lives in harmony, collaboration, acceptance of diversity, and exquisite creativity, because we are coming out of that unity consciousness and that interdependence and interconnectedness with each other and all that is. This is what this new moon is guiding us to remember and to open to and to claim and to integrate in order to be reborn and emerge in new ways. As we're moving through this time of transition collectively, I truly believe that we're going to be going through some turbulence and difficult times, challenging times, particularly between now and the end of 2024. But these critical planetary energies, Venus in her journey, Pluto squaring the lunar nodes now through the end of the year, this new moon and its message of rebirth, of remembering how we can emerge in new ways and come from the heart. They're all preparing us, guiding us, supporting us in how we can move through this transition time in a more gentle way, in a more conscious way. There are many on the planet who are resisting this time of change. And I think one of the things that's important in the message of this new moon is hold that energy of aligning with the wisdom of the deep, with the wisdom of the whales, with the wisdom of our source on this planet, the waters, the living waters of the ocean and the living waters of cosmic consciousness. Stand firm in that, Uranus conjunct Jupiter, and hold that energy of, no, we refuse to participate in polarization. We refuse to give our power away. We refuse to be in this dynamic of competition, conquest, exploitation, violence, abuse. No. If we stand firm in that wisdom of the deep, if we stand firm in that awareness of right relationship. It doesn't mean we have to fight back. That's actually stepping into the polarization and that patriarchal dynamic of hierarchy, power over, conflict. Who's the conqueror? Who's the winner? It's this new moon and this Venus cycle are actually saying, step out of the battle, step out of the conflict, let go of the polarization and say, no, we stand together. We don't give up our power. We don't give authority to someone outside of us. We stay aligned with that wisdom within us, with our own deep connection to the consciousness of the cosmos that is within us. We stay very grounded in our hearts and in our connection with the natural world and in our solidity and connection with each other, and say, no, we don't accept those paradigms anymore. We don't accept those ways of being. We stand for the wisdom of the deep. We stand for right relationship. We live with courage from the hearts. We care about each other and the sacredness of the life around us. We remember who we truly are. We remember our oneness with all that is. We remember that we have always on this planet as humanity been in this 12,000 year cycle of radical change and transformation. We remember that we're there now, and we honor the death, rebirth that is happening. We participate in that, celebrate that, and are awaiting our rebirth in new ways as we're supported by our Mother Earth, supported by the energies of the cosmos and of the sky. And as we stand together in our interconnectedness with each other and with the life on the planet, and stand for right relationship, harmony, balance, love, and co-create a new world together. This is what we're capable of. This is the transition process that we're called to be in. We can choose Pluto squaring the lunar nodes. Do we participate in South Node in Libra coming back into balance, right relationship, in order to move into that North Node in Aries and manifest new forms? Or are we clinging to the patterns of the past and resisting the transition that we're in, resisting, as Mars did in the myth of Inanna, resisted being in his own underworld journey? But when he eventually allowed himself to be in that transition and transformation, he too emerged healed, transformed, more whole, more able to participate in being in right relationship. We are reframing our understanding of Mars, our understanding of Venus, our understanding of right relationship, our paradigms of what it means to be in the world. We're letting go of the out of balance paradigms of the last 5,000 years and remembering who we truly are, what we've been capable of in the past thousands of years ago, and what we can bring forward to be moving into a radically new way of being humans on this planet. Homo luminous ones, beings of light, beings of love, beings of the fifth dimension, and living in harmony with all that is. May this new moon be a time of reflection for you, a time of introspection, a time of honoring what you need to let die, and a time of opening to the trust and hope and faith with Jupiter and Uranus in Taurus, supporting us in seeing clearly what this journey is about, in knowing that these energies, these living energies of the cosmos and the earth, are here to heal us, support us, revive us, and allow us to be rebirthed in new ways. as you may be struggling with your own dark night of the soul at times, or feeling like you're caught in the underworld, may we also hold that support and Cheroklo energy and Ninshabar energy for and with each other, to hear each other, to support each other, to remind each other that we are not alone and that we are being transformed and are being rebirthed. May we continue to hold that energy with and for each other, emanate that healing energy across the globe to each other, and hold that energy of coming from the heart, coming from right relationship, to be transforming this world and being in harmony with the earth in her changes and the cosmos as it's guiding us through this photon belt into radically new forms of being. Blessed be.